The results are in, and there's not a lot of decks standing in the way of Tearlament's takeover of Master Duel, but this is one of them. Floowandereze. Now, this is a deck that I have played once on the channel before because it's not one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a huge fan of playing it. However, it is highly effective in this given meta, considering how it basically allows you to freely banish everything from the grave using big floodgates like Dimensional Fissure, D-Shifter, Macrocosmos if you're so inclined. So I've been having a good bit of fun with it at least. It's really successful on the ranked ladder. I would have liked to show off some tier games, but for some reason I'm actually not finding very many in Platinum at least, so we're grinding our way to Diamond at the minute. But anyway, I'm going to be going through a deck profile at the end, showing off a couple of games, so if that's the sort of thing you're into, feel free to subscribe and comment if you want. Any suggestions, any questions, comments, changes, anything you want, throw them below, and if you do enjoy what you end up watching, consider liking. It would only help me out. And without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, so we did get a game against Tearlament for the video. We're going to be starting off with that one. I can't remember how well it went, but this is not the best of starting hands until you get Robina. Robina's the only card you really need in this deck because it starts the entire combo. On normal summon, you get to search for a card, so I should very quickly explain how this deck works for anyone who maybe doesn't. The way the Floowandereze birds work is they all basically, when they're normal summoned, they will allow you to perform a specific action, like take Robina. It searches for a level 4 lower winged beast, and if your action is completed successfully, then you get to conduct an additional normal summon. And you can basically chain their effects. So Robina searches 4 or lower, Eaglin searches 7 or higher. We're going to grab, we would have searched for M-Pen if we didn't have it. We already had it, so now we searched for the Apex Avian instead. We do actually, I believe we make a mistake here. We're gonna summon M-Pen, activate Eaglin here. They also all have the effect where if they would be sent from the field to the graveyard, they are instead banished, and whenever you normal summon a winged beast monster, once per turn you get the option to return them back from your banish pile to the hand, so they've got infinite recurrence basically, which is pretty awesome. M-Pen's gonna grab us. Yeah, here's our mistake. For some reason, I thought I already had the Floowandereze trap card in hand. That was silly of me. It's evenly matched. Stupid me. Whatever. But either way, we're gonna just be showing this off for a slight interaction. Double Call by the Grave is hella good though, especially in this matchup. This is going against Tearlament, which we're gonna see here. He's gonna grab himself the field spell. Now, what M-Pen actually does is, so long as this guy is face up, your opponent cannot activate the effects of any special summon monsters so long as they're in attack position. So it's really going to limit our opponent's ability to combo off and really play the game offensively. They're going to go for their Tearlament cards here, discarding a Rhino Heart. They're also going to get to send a, I believe it was a Havness or a Siren to graveyard. We're going to flip up both copies of Calm by the Grave here, and we're going to try and stop him as much as we possibly can. Which is a bit of a risky play. It might have been smarter to hold off and only use one of them, but at the end of the day, it pans out. Both of those names are now banished. Both of them are negated for the rest of the next 2 turns basically, which is really good. So the Siren, I didn't really mind hitting that because we have the Siren on field, meaning if it gets sent to the grave, then no bueno, no fusion. He's gonna go for Keldo here. Keldo grabbing Kelbeck before going into Baguska. So he's playing on the defensive here. He knows that we've sort of got the advantage, so he is forcing us to play the long game, which isn't going to really work out too well for him. We've got the continuous spell here. Now, the continuous spell has 2 main effects. Number 1, you can shuffle up to 2 winged beasts from your hand back into your deck, and you get to draw that number of cards. It has a second effect where if you would conduct a tribute summon for something that requires 2 tributes, you can use a card on your opponent's field as one of the materials. So we're just gonna go for the gamble here. Tribute off the Baguska and the M-Pen. It's gonna trigger Robina, bringing Robina back to our hand, going for the Avian, getting some damage across the board. We've got 3 negates here as well as an evenly matched, should worst come to worst, and we got Robina for next turn. So it was a bit risky, but at the end of the day, we're just looking to go here. He decides to get rid of the continuous spell at the cost of his Kelbeck. Kelbeck, of course, going to mill the top 5 cards from his deck to the graveyard. We're going to use the Apex Avian to shut him down. Unfortunately, the card remaining in his hand was Havness. That was the only bad card that could have been, realistically. Super unfortunate. He gets to send, I believe it was Merle, as well as the Crime to the graveyard. So he is going to get some advantage here, grabbing his Rhino Heart back to his hand, as well as Merle conducting a fusion summon. So we're in trouble for sure. Getting rid of our continuous spell, as well as all of the materials he gained from it. He's going to try and pop our Imperm here. We're just going to flip it up. We're going to negate the Kit Colosse. That's going to really slow our opponent down this turn at least. Our opponent's not going to have the easiest time putting lethal on board, but by God, are they going to try? They're going to normal summon their Rhino-Heart also getting hit with an infinite impermanence. So we're going to negate that as well, and there's a very specific reason we did that, and a lot of you are probably looking at it already. He's going to swing in. He's going to be just shy of lethal here, 21, 28, and 2,000. It's going to leave us with around 900 life points, I believe. 1,100, sorry. Now we get to evenly match to wipe his entire board, barring the Kit Colosse, which is amazing. That sets us up fantastically to bring this game back. We're going to normal summon the Robina, and we're just going to start our chain over again. Eaglin being added to hand. Eaglin on summon, grabbing us an M-Pen. We play 2, which is good. And now we're going to tribute 2 for the M-Pen, using its effect to add to our hand another spell or trap card. Robina adding itself back to our hand from the banish pile, which is great. So we're in a position where we've got some decent resources. Probably should have gone for Pot of Duality first to see if we could chain another normal summon. We check the top 3 of our deck. We're going to grab DD Crow among them, just on the off chance it becomes useful. Now we're going to set a card, swing in the Kit Colosse, wipe it out, and suddenly we're in a phenomenal position. Now, Tearlament has that bad habit of only needing 1 card to play the game. Are they going to draw that card though? Not on this occasion. They're going to try and end their main phase. We're going to go for our trap card, which allows us to restart our normal summon chain during our opponent's turn, which is huge. Now we're going to add the Eaglin back to hand. Robina is going to search our deck for another bird. We're just going to grab another DD Crow. I mean, there's no need for us to grab anything else right now. We're going to grab then the Mega Monarch off of Eaglin. Tribute 2 for the Mega Monarch. Activate its effect. Spin that card back to the top of the deck, as well as our Call by the Grave also going back to the top of the deck. He is going to kill though, to basically stop that from happening, as well as attempting to recycle some of his own cards. We're going to use our DD Crows while he's still got these valuable resources here for us to banish. We might as well use them now. We're going to banish the unusable Keldo as well as the Kit Colosse to prevent him from recycling those resources. Not that they're really a threat to us, and we know that, but it's probably best if we just play the game while we got him. We're going to add Robina back to hand so that when it goes back into our turn, we can do the chain once again. Clear field, clear graveyard, nothing he can do about this one. And he knows it, scooping it up. Again, ultimately we would have just normal summoned, brought out the Avian, and that's enough damage for lethal. So, there you have it, easy game. Ideally, your games against Tearlaments go a little bit smoother if you have Fissure, if you have Shifter, things like that. I wish I could have got one of those games to show off, but I only had so much time to record before our stream. Ultimately, we didn't get any of those games because Tearlament are like nowhere. I played 20 games and I faced Tearlament like twice, 3 times at most. So I don't know. And maybe they're all in diamond, who knows. But either way, that's game number 1. Let's get into game 2. Alrighty, getting into game 2. So we're going second here. We went second a lot, which was unfortunate. I'm just going to put the fast forward on here. We're playing against Adamantippators. Now, that means our opponent's going to be playing cards for the next 7 years. So we're just going to try and turbo free his turn here. Going Smorwell to grab himself, showing off the no material, which is pretty interesting. Block Dragon making its way out to the hand. Prank Kids doing the whole Prank Kid combo, that's dope. Bringing out Gallant Granite to search their deck for another rock monster. They've already got the Block Dragon, so they're going to go for Researcher here. Linking off into Osawa, which is fine. Block Dragon then searching their deck for up to 3 rock monsters. Block Dragon is disgusting. Block Dragon is an absurd card. I don't know why that is still legal. I guess none of the decks it's played in are that good right now, so I kind of get it. But just as an individual card, it is insane. For anyone who is watching this video and hasn't had the absolute joy of going against Adamantipator in their day, good luck following this. This isn't really all that complicated, of course of action. Here's an interesting one. I don't often see them go into the Power Tool Dragon and do the whole Braver hand snipe combo. That's a bit of a new one to me. They actually managed to snipe our Eaglin, which is like our only monster. That's really unfortunate. They're just going to continue comboing off though. Going into Block Dragon. Block Dragon can resummon itself as many times as it wants. Cheng Ying coming out. They're going to banish again for another Block Dragon, bringing out Baron de Fleur. 2 level 10 synchros back to back, just like that, before going off into an Apollosa. And I believe, yeah, they bring a Block Dragon once more and then end their turn. So this is unfortunate. So they know, I believe they know our entire hand. Because Smoke Grenade lets you look at the hand. Yeah, so they know our hand. They know we've got an evenly match, so they're going to save their Baron de Fleur for it. which is really unfortunate because we're going to go for Pot of Duality, and we're going to show them another evenly matched. Evenly matched isn't once per turn. Straight the battle phase, end the battle phase, evenly matched, banish the field, just leave him with a block dragon. Leave him with the block dragon, that's it. Scoops it up. Could have negated it, but he knew we had two, so he didn't waste his time. All I wanted to do with this replay is show off evenly matched. That's it. I just thought it was funny. On to the next. Alrighty, getting into an actual game here. So we're going to have Shifter in play, which is ideal. One of the big strengths of this deck is that you can play Shifter. So you do want to be seeing it more often than not. We're going to go for Eagle in here. We haven't seen any D-Fissure. Unfortunately, we didn't draw into it very often when we were playing this deck. We're going to normal summon the Rabina here. Rabina, we've already got Eagle and Banish, so Rabina can sort of search for whatever it wants. You might want to search for another DD Crow, but since we already had one, I kind of thought we're going to grab the Toucan instead. It just gives us more options for extension. I believe in this match they were unnecessary, but you know, you can't go wrong with options. We're going to summon out our M-Pen, same thing as before. And this is the biggest reason as to why I'm not like the hugest fan of this deck, because it is very much one-dimensional. It is linear, and there's not really a lot of variation within the combo, which is, you know, it is for some people, it's just not for me. I'm going to set 3 pass here, so we've got a decent amount of interruption at the very least. They're going to go for Secret Village of the Spellcasters. They're playing Charmers. I imagine they're playing this in preparation for the 4 attribute event, which is totally fine, absolutely. We're going to normal summon Rabina during their turn. Rabina, of course, we're going to chain block it using Eaglin. Eaglin's going to add itself back to our hand. Rabina then is going to search our deck for another card and add it to our hand. We're going to grab Stree this time. Normal summoning the Eaglin. Eaglin's going to get searching. Toucan's going to get adding. Just, there you go. We're using the banished Floowandereze to chain block the ones that we have in the field. I'm pretty certain he can't do anything about it, but it's good practice anyway. Stree's going to banish the Shifter just so we have an empty graveyard on the off chance we go to use the Shifter again next turn. We're going to tribute 2, go into Apex Avian, adding the Stree back, and I'm pretty sure that's where we end our turn. Grand, so we've got an Omni Negate as well as a Floodgate and a couple of fodder monsters here. Ideally, we should really have gotten rid of the Rabina and the Eaglin so we could have done the combo again. I'm not, like I said, I know Floowandereze, but I don't play them a lot. They're going to go Possessed Partnerships here, which is going to be a bit annoying because they're going to summon out a second Charmer, popping the Apex Avian before it can negate the Golem, so the Golem is also summoned out to the field. They got a bit of a 2-for-1 there. We are going to swing into the Golem because M-Pen has a cool little effect, lets you banish a card from hand to have the attack points of any monster it battles. So we are able to take his monster out. We're going to normal summon the Stree, banishing the trap card from his graveyard. It does have an effect in grave, even if it's a mediocre effect at best. And we already have the card we need to really handle that Performage, whatever its name is. Performage. So that's fine. Just going to set up some defense here and pass turn. Performage is going to banish itself, going to grab a Trick Clown from the deck, which is totally fine. They're going to summon Trick Clown, link it off into the Wind Charmer. They cannot activate the Wind Charmer's effect because of M-Pen. They're going to try and revive the Trick Clown. We're going to stop that using the DD Crow, and this is where our opponent's strategy all sort of falls apart. They can't activate the effects of all of their Charmers because of our M-Pen. They go into Selene, they can't activate Selene, and then they scoop it up. So there you go, the power of the Floodgate with the M-Pen was just completely stopping him from activating his Special Summon Monsters effects, and his whole strategy fell apart. And you'll notice that happening a lot against a whole range of different decks. Of course, there is like easy counters to that. You just summon your cards in defense instead. That's why we play a decent amount of back row and Floodgates and such to back it up. But it's still a pretty impactful effect, especially whenever you're going against any link-based strategies or decks that rely upon a link monster or two, because they can't be played at defense, obviously. So there you go. Just the impact of M-Pen. M-Pen winning a game, just like that. Let's get into the last one. Alrighty, going into a game here, we do open Dimensional Fissure this time, but we're going second, and we're going second against Exosister. Which is a little bit unfortunate. Exosisters don't, they actually dodge things like the Dimensional Shifter and the Dimensional Fissure and such. They're just going to summon their Marfa and they're just going to set a bunch of cards and pass. And which is reasonable, they just don't want to play into the Max C. Plus, if you pay attention here, they're going to flip up Armament. Armament allows them to take a single Exosister on the field and to turn it into an Exceed monster. Luckily, our Evenly Matched is going to neuter most of the threats that this board has to offer, but they do still have the Mechalus. Now we're going to activate the field spell. I was hoping to try and bait him out, but he didn't even give me a chance to bait him out. He was so trigger happy that he just wanted it gone right away. So you know what, fair enough. Going to activate the Fissure, activate the Continuous spell, then we're going to normal summon our Robina. Robina then is going to grab us an Eaglin, and it's pretty cookie cutter from here. Eaglin's going to grab us an M-Pen. M-Pen then we can summon by tributing off his Mechalus and our Eaglin, thanks to our Continuous spell. Eaglin then is going to add itself back to hand, while our M-Pen grabs us a Spell or Trap card, which is dope. We don't have our battle phase this turn, thanks to the fact that we used Evenly Matched, so that's fine. We're just going to set a card and pass. So we have the option at any point to summon any of our other big winged beast monsters, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. They're going to grab a Marfa here from the deck. Marfa activating its effect in hand to special summon itself, as well as an Ellis out the field. We're going to flip up our Floowandereze, summoning out the Eaglin here. Eaglin's going to add a Ryza to our hand. Ryza then is going to tribute off the Marfa and our Robina to summon itself, setting the Ellis back on top of the deck, as well as I believe our trap card we targeted. Yes. So we're going to grab Robina back to hand. We're going to send both of those cards back to the top of the deck. No monsters, no materials, no nothing, and he scoops it up. Pretty straightforward stuff. Generally speaking, the idea is that you negate all of their special summon monsters' effects with M-Pen, and then you send their normal summon back to the top of their deck off of Ryza, and then they can't play the game. Seems pretty simple to me. Anyway, well, let's get into the deck profile. Alrighty, getting into the deck profile. Again, a large part of the strength of this deck is its affinity with Banishment, and that affords you a lot of opportunities. You can even play more hardcore to that effect than what we are. The reason we're not is because we didn't really find all that much Tearlament, to be honest with you, going up the ladder. So, you know, we decided to dial it back a little bit. There are definitely some other options you can include to ramp up the anti-graveyard hit, but this is what we landed on. So opening up the list with DD Crow, again, not only is this a really good generic hand trap in general at the minute, it's actually also searchable in this deck, which is pretty interesting, as well as all of the returning effects of your Floowandereze, your field spell, all of these cards, all they require is that a winged beast monster be normal summoned, which this counts as. So in a pinch, you can normal summon DD Crow to get all of your combos going. Or you can search for it off of Robina if you already have a follow-up Floowandereze summon like an Eaglin. So yeah, DD Crow definitely holds a really solid place. You can play it at 3 if you want, but given that it's searchable, I think 2 is fine. Robina or Eaglin are sort of like your ideal starters, but ideally you want Robina. So there's 4 small Floowandereze. You've got Robina, Eaglin, Stree, and Toucan. They all do similar things. All of them have an effect where when they're normal summoned, you can conduct an action and then perform an additional normal summon, and they all have an effect where if you normal summon a winged beast monster, you can add these cards back from your banished pile to your hand, and if they were to leave the field for any reason, they are instead banished. So Robina will let you search for a level 4 or lower Flu and then normal summon. Eaglin will let you search for a level 5 or higher, level 7 or higher winged beast, and then normal summon. Stree will let you banish a card from either player's graveyard and then normal summon, and Toucan will allow you to return a banished Floowandereze card back to your hand and then normal summon. So all 4 of them are a little bit unique. Definitely Robina and Eaglin are the better ones for your consistency, but these guys also come into their own on occasion. Toucan's good for recycling. Stree is good for either clearing out your graveyard for a second shifter play if you are that lucky, or just by sniping important cards out of your opponent's graveyard. Pretty straightforward. You're only really playing them for the additional normal summon effects though. You've got Max C here because of course we do. It's still one of the most influential hand traps in the game. Dimension Shifter, quickly becoming one of the most influential hand traps in the game. This card, on the turn it's activated, for the next 2 turns, all cards that would be sent to the graveyard are instead banished. I keep tripping over my words. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Then we've got our 3 big winged beasts. We're playing 2 copies of M-Pen. We've got 1 Mist Valley Apex Avian and 1 Ryza the Mega Monarch. These are our big bads. Apex Avian once per turn, or once per chain, sorry I should say. You can target a Mist Valley card in your field and negate the activation of an opponent's card. So it's an Omni Negate by bouncing this card back to hand. Ryza on Summon will target a card on your opponent's field or graveyard and a card on your field or graveyard and return it back to the top of the deck. And if you tributed a wind monster for its summon, you can target an extra card on the field and return it back to the hand. So basically, ideally, you get to bounce 2 cards back to your opponent's hand / deck, which is pretty dope. Then you've got M-Pen, which on summon, you get to add a Floowandereze spell or trap card from your deck to your hand and then conduct an additional normal summon, just like all the other Floowandereze cards. So long as this card is face up in the field after being tribute summoned, the effects of all special summon monsters in attack position are negated, and if it battles an opponent's monster, you can banish a card in your hand to have its attack and defense until the end of the turn. So you can't really beat it by battle without negating it, and it's sort of it's a pretty decent floodgate against most offensive strategies, so it becomes pretty difficult to get rid of on occasion. Getting into spells, we've got Terraforming to search for our 1-of field spell. Of course we do, the field spell is really good, we'll talk about it in a minute. We've got Gold Sark. Remember, all of your Flu cards will add themselves back to the hand from the banish pile if you normal summon a Winged Beast. So Gold Sark will basically give you your pick of the litter, so long as you have a Winged Beast to normal summon in your hand. You basically get to search for any Flu card. Pot of Duality, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, take one of them and add it to your hand, but you cannot special summon during the turn which you use this card. That is totally fine because you're not special summoning at all. The extra deck is just for show, which is good for Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6 of these cards in order to check the top 6 cards of your deck and add any card among them to your hand. Your extra deck is purely here for show, banish whatever you want. These cards are not going to hinder you in any way and are instead going to be an excellent source of consistency. Being able to grab both your Floowandereze cards as well as a number of powerful hand traps or floodgates, depending on what the situation is, whether you're going first or second or whatever have you going on. We then have the Floowandereze and the Magnificent Map, the field spell that they felt the need to limit to 1, and I don't really blame them. This card's pretty nasty. Basically, if you've got a level 1 Floowandereze monster in your hand, you can banish any Floowandereze monster from your deck that has a different name, and then normal summon the monster that you revealed in addition to your regular normal summoner set. So it helps you play through the old 1 Impair makes you pass type strategy. So while this card was a 3, the idea of stopping Floowandereze was that if you negate their first normal summon, then they just die, right? But the field spell made that a little bit harder because they got this additional normal summon way more frequently, whereas now it's a little bit tougher. So it basically just helps you play through interruption. It also has a really cool effect, whereas if your opponent normal summons, you can conduct a normal summon in response, which allows you to play during your opponent's turn, which they will hate you for, but you can do nonetheless. Dimensional Fissure, a face-up continuous spell. So long as it's face-up, any monster that would be sent to the graveyard is instead banished. Just a decent floodgate against a lot of the top tier strategies right now. Nice to have. Floowandereze and the Unexplored Winds, another card that has a few effects. Number 1, if you were to tribute something summon something that requires 2 tributes, you can use any card your opponent controls as one of the tributes, be it monster, be it spell or trap. Which is really good. Then during your main phase, you can return up to 2 Winged Beast monsters from your hand back into the deck to draw that number of cards. So that second effect we don't use a ton, but it's really good that if you open a bit of a bricky hand, or if you've got a bunch of really high level monsters, or maybe you have Stray and Toucan but you need Rabina or Eaglin, it's a decent way of sort of reshuffling the deck and getting yourself another chance at drawing some of your more important starter cards. So definitely pretty solid, but its main effect is definitely tributing off your opponent's cards, for sure. Then we've got double Cult of the Grave, helps you play through interruption as well as just being a force to be reckoned with in the current metagame. Of course, having Cult of the Grave as well as D-Fissure and D-Shifter is kind of counterintuitive. I don't think you have to play Cult of the Grave, but I mean, it's a really good card. So I'll play it, 100%. Floowandereze and the Advent of Adventure. So this is a card you probably want to play at 3. I only have 2 copies of it. I don't know if I want to go for a third. I'm probably not going to play this deck often enough to use a third, but this is basically an additional search. So you can banish a Winged Beast monster from your hand or field to add a Floowandereze monster or field spell from your deck to your hand, then you gain 500 life points. Now, it being a quick play spell is very important. Typically, so this card, it basically lets you search anything, right, which is really, really good. In addition, it helps protect your Floowandereze cards from the likes of Veiler or Imperm, because once they're targeted to be negated, you can then banish them using this card to stop their negation, which is really, really good. So this stops targeted negating, which is awesome, as well as conducting a search for powerful cards like your field spell, or if you just need a starter, you can grab a starter. You probably want 3 of this. We're running evenly matched. You can run this if you want, you don't have to, but I feel like it's getting more and more powerful. I would be inclined to play it, especially if you're a more free-to-play player. Maybe you don't have a ton of different URs or a ton of different hand traps. I feel like Evenly Matched and DD Crow are going to be 2 cards in particular that you're definitely going to want to craft at the minute, because both of them are phenomenal, and both are really affordable. So I think Evenly Matched is a fantastic card right now, especially considering my luck. We're constantly going second, so yeah. Then we got Triple Infinite Permanence, just an amazing card right now. If you have it, play it. If you don't, play something else. And lastly, we have Floowandereze and the Dreaming Town. During the main phase, either player's main phase of course, it's a trap card, you can basically conduct a normal summon. Which is awesome, that's its main use. It also, if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster, you can banish it to flip everything face down, which is alright. That's not really going to come up too often, but it's mainly there for the fact that you can normal summon during your opponent's turn, ideally an Eaglin or Rabina, start your whole combo, tribute off their cards, set up negates, set up bounces, do whatever, all during your opponent's turn, which is awesome. And like I said, the extra deck is for show, so we're not even going to talk about it. Just pick 15 cards, put them in. It could be 15 copies of the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, I don't care. You're literally never going to use these. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the deck's really straightforward. Like I said, the combo lines, there's not even really like combo lines to talk about. The combo line is normal summon Rabina, search Eaglin, normal summon Eaglin, search Empen, normal summon Empen, done. Or if you don't, maybe you don't have Rabina, maybe you have Eaglin and another one of these guys, ideally you can use their effects. Rabina's the most consistent way of starting it though, for sure. But you just normal summon until you get one of these guys in the field, and then you just pass turn, and it's really simple. Really straightforward, but for some reason, really effective. And that's just it. Like, if it works, it works. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to set up a million negates. It just has to work. And this does. And if this is a deck that you're interested in playing, go right ahead. You can let me know down below if you are already playing this. Maybe you play it slightly differently. You have any suggestions, any hints, tricks, or tips that you want to share, if I could say words correctly. By all means, down below, go ahead. And if you got this far and you haven't liked the video yet, what are you doing? You might as well. It's right there. Go for it. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.